Alrighty, so welcome to our first speech. So this speech is the speech of introduction, or also known as backpack speech or the personal object speech. It'll go by a few different names, but just know that I am talking about the same speech. So just to kind of go through this document with you so everyone's on the same page, it's going to be a 2 to 3 minute speech. Basically, it's just for us to get to know you a little bit better when it comes to who you are as a person. So you're going to select an object that represents who you are as a person, most likely related to your personality, and you're going to craft a speech around that object and how it relates to you, the experiences you've had in life, your personality, and who you are, and maybe also your upbringing if you want to talk about that. This object should be on camera for you, and it will be used as a visual aid in your speech. Also to note, I'm going to make a little note of this as we're going through, but you're going to need to have an audience for this, an audience of 4 people of your choice, and then before you film your speech, make sure to film your audience. Anyway, you're going to find a central theme for this speech known as the thesis statement. So if you've looked at our chapters already, you should have an idea of what a thesis statement is, or a purpose statement. And it's going to connect to the aspects of the object and how it relates to you in your life. So just the main theme of your speech. You're also going to have an intro, body, and conclusion for this speech as well. You should use clear and creative transitions between your main points, as well as smaller transitions between your subpoints, and then also larger transitions from your intro to body, and then your body to conclusion. Also, make sure you have an attention getter. This should be the first thing in your speech. This will be the first thing on your outline besides your name and the title. And then also remember to end in a unique way with a memorable close. And this will be the last line that you say during your speech. So this, kind of the purpose of this, or what you should aim to do, is give the audience enough information to remember who you are and what you're about. But remember, you only have about 2 to 3 minutes, so try to stay within that time frame. Within these guidelines, you may take any approach you really want to. The only criteria for the content is that it must give the audience some insight to who you are, where you come from, and what interests you. So just to clarify here, you can definitely have a picture of your family, but you have to talk about why who your family is makes you, or has affected you, or has impacted you. The focus is you of the speech, not something else. So make sure whatever object you have, whether that be if you're a sports person, maybe you have a football or a soccer ball or a baseball or a golf ball, maybe you're a musician and you want to bring your trumpet, you want to bring your guitar, whatever object you have, make sure you talk about how it relates back to who you are. Also, make sure you're including specific examples and narratives and stories from your experience to support your ideas. We'll talk a little bit more about this in developing subpoints and stuff to support those subpoints. But basically, since there is no outside research for this project, the evidence that you're going to be using is your own evidence, your stories from your life, your examples that you have, the analogies that you can pull from the object and relate it to your life. Keep your audience in mind when you are selecting these examples and outlines for your speech. With this online format, also keep in mind that the audience is not only the 4 people in front of you, it's also me as the teacher, as well as your classmates. The audience matters when deciding what examples to use and how to focus your ideas. So make sure that if you're going to use examples, they're going to be understood by not only the audience that's in front of you, but also the audience that's going to be watching your video as well. You will use an extemporaneous delivery style. You can have up to 5 note cards, just one side only, and then you're also going to have a typed formal outline that will be full sentences that you'll turn in online before posting, prior to posting your speech. And then I'm going to make a note right here of how much or how many audience members you have to have. Alrighty. Let's do this. Dun, dun, dun. All right. All right. Sorry for that little delay there. Just wanted to make sure I get this in for us. So for audience members, we're going to talk about the outline early next week. I'm going to try to get it posted by this weekend so you can look at that. But you will have a type formal outline that you'll turn in. And that'll be kind of the guide that you're going to use to create those note cards. I'll post a bunch of pictures for that. If you want to, right now you can watch some of these links to sample speeches. They are great. I also started a forum on our Rock page, on our Moodle page, where you can actually find even more sample speeches when it comes to our first speech. So make sure to look at that. Now we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at the speech evaluation rubric. So what we're basically looking for here, since it is the first speech, I didn't want to overly focus on delivery. I just wanted to focus on making sure you're hitting all those key points. So let's see, 20% of your grade is actually just turning in your outline as well as just using the correct amount of note cards. You do not have to worry about turning in this rubric. Since it is online, I'll just have it graded online. So don't worry about trying to post this or send this to me. Also, getting into kind of the general outline or general guidelines for the speech. As you can see, it's graded on a 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 scale here. So it says excellent is for the E, G is good, A is average, F is fair, and P is poor. So if you use a compelling introduction, you're probably going to get a 4, 3.5, or a 3. If you just use an introduction and it wasn't compelling, maybe you'll get a 2. But if you forgot an introduction altogether, you probably get a 0 there. Also, make sure you establish a clear and memorable central theme. Like I talked about, that's your thesis statement. The next thing to look at that's going to fall probably in your introduction is tailoring the message to the audience, but you should definitely connect the speech to your audience throughout the whole speech. Next is reciting your speech extemporaneously. Then we're looking at made, organized, well-reasoned, ethical, and honest statements. Hopefully they're ethical, honest, and well-reasoned. Since you're talking about yourself, this should be an easier category. Use clear and creative transitions. Since this speech is only worth 50 points and it's a fun speech, you can definitely use creative transitions. So if you're talking about swimming and diving, say you were on the swim team and you want to bring or you want to have a speech about a swim cap, you can say diving into my first point. You can use cheesy creative transitions like that. They're kind of fun for these type of speeches. Also, make sure you have a clear creative focus that fit the assignment. So basically, this is just following the guidelines for the assignment and not steering off for some reason. Maybe I've never had this happen before, but when it says the focus that fit the assignment, all of a sudden you go off on a tangent about some political issue that is not relevant to the actual assignment itself. So just make sure the focus is on you. Then we have ended in a memorable language device, so just ending in a strong way. And then we have used acceptable language by avoiding abusive terms. Again, hopefully that's an easy category for us. And then lastly, met the time limits, 2 to 3 minutes. I will say with the time limit, I'm not one of those people that is just going to give you a 0 if you go a little bit above or a little bit below. I would rather have you deliver an effective speech and go 15 seconds over, 30 seconds over, rather than trying to cut your speech short just to hit that time frame, even though it doesn't have all the stuff you need. So I would say if you're a little bit over, a little bit under, it's not the end of the world. Maybe you get a 3 instead of a 4. Maybe you get a 2 instead of a 4. It's not going to kill your grade by any means. So that will all total up to 50 points. So 50 points will be what our first speech is going to cover. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know, but definitely look over this again. Hopefully you've listened to this, have a better idea of what we are looking for this first speech. I'll say this first speech, I'm a little bit more lenient on grading when it comes to delivery, because I'm guessing you'll be just a little bit nervous since it is your first speech that you will be posting. So have a great day, guys, and if you have any questions, just shoot me an email.